super quick question. How many tabs do you have open right now? If you're like me, it's dozens. And if you're running a business, it's a lot more. And with all those tabs, you're spending more time searching and less time, growing your business. But HubSpot's customer platform brings all your tools into a single, powerful place for marketing, sales, and service teams. So close those tabs and get growing. Visit HubSpot.com to get started today.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant Prime.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Welcome to Friday's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. So glad you could be with us for the next hour to talk Giants football as they prepare for Sunday's game in Week 2 down in Washington to take on the Commanders. We are the Big Blue Crew, or the Blue Men Crew, if you like. Paul Dottino and Matt Citak, and we'll be taking your phone calls at 201-939-4513, 201-939-4513. As a reminder, if you're not watching the show live, catch us on the archive on the Giants Podcast Network, the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and at giants.com/podcasts. All right, let's get to the news of the day, folks, because I know so many of you hit up on Twitter last night in a panic. Oh my goodness, Malik Neighbors had a sore knee and was limited at practice, and everybody freaked out, probably couldn't even eat their dinner. All right, I get it. It's okay. Bottom line, Neighbors was out there today, full gear, full go, according to Coach Dable. Said he just felt a little something in his knee yesterday, so they decided, okay, you did some stuff, that's it, shut it down. Came in this morning, they checked him out, gave him a little treatment, good to go. He's out there at practice, no issues. And I'm so glad that we could tell you that today so that all of you can now relax.
Yeah, look, we've spoken about this, I don't even know how many times. When a player gets listed as limited on the practice report, we don't know what exactly that entails. That could literally mean that a guy missed one practice rep.
Correct.
One team rep.
Correct.
He technically has to be listed as limited. So we don't know if that's exactly what the case was yesterday. It seemed like they just, toned it back a little bit for Malik Neighbors since he played so many snaps on Sunday as well. But yeah, Coach Brian Dable said he's good to go. He's fine.
Moisau and McLeod still a bit tender with their knees, though, and they were on the side with the trainers this morning.
Yeah, those two, we'll have to wait and see what the injury report says when it comes out, sometime this afternoon. I would say less certain about those two players suiting up on Sunday. We'll see. Coach Dable did not really, as we've come to know, Coach Dable didn't really shed too much light onto those situations. He kind of just said, we'll see how today goes and take it from there. So you and I will see how today goes and take it from there.
Indeed we will. I've seen commercials hand out more information than Coach Dable when it comes to injury reports. Finally, Darius Slayton was back for contact drills in practice today, but still has another step to get out of the concussion protocol before he can be cleared. But Coach said he was in the right direction. So it sounds like there's optimism.
Yeah, each day Darius Slayton has taken the next step, which is exactly what you would hope to see. So Coach Dable indicated today that he has one last hurdle, that he was participating in practice today, still in the red non-contact jersey, but that as long as he got through practice okay, he'd have one more test either after practice today or tomorrow. And as long as all goes well, hopefully we'll get the clearance to play. Coach said is trending in the right direction.
All right, now for the Commanders, there is one really big one to report, and that is thumb surgery for Emmanuel Forbes Jr., last year's first-round draft pick. Now, they were very happy with him over the summer. He had a tough rookie season, but they were happy with him over the summer, and they were trying to ramp him up, and they really wanted him to be like the best guy in their secondary this year. But unfortunately for him, he's already been sidetracked by thumb surgery. Now, they're not saying exactly how long he might be. I don't know if they officially put him on the injured list. I don't think they did that yet, did they?
You mean IR?
Yeah.
No, not
they
yet.
They did not.
No.
Supposedly, the people down in Washington are telling me he could be headed there. But if he does, he's out for a minimum of 4 weeks. They're thinking, apparently, that there's a chance he might be able to make it back just inside of that. So they're hesitant to put him on the list. Bottom line is, I don't expect to see him against the Giants, and that already makes a very, very tissue paper secondary much worse off than they had been before.
Yeah, I mean, last year, there's no doubt about it, Emmanuel Forbes struggled mightily.
He was a rookie.
He's a rookie, yeah. That doesn't necessarily mean that, he was gearing up for the same sort of season this year. In last week's game, Next Gen Stats had him down for just 2 receptions for 19 yards allowed, which compared to last year, that's amazing, honestly. But yeah, that is a secondary, Washington secondary that is already, how do I put this?
Challenged,
yes. That is a good way to put it. Their, I guess, number 1 corner, Benjamin St-Juste, in week 1, Next Gen Stats had him down for 6 receptions allowed for 53 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also, going back to the start of last season, I believe he is allowed the most receiving yards of any cornerback in the NFL through the last, 18 games. So that's not great. They have their rookie slot corner, Mike Sainristil, from Michigan, their second-round pick, who also
got some talent.
He does. He definitely does. Going into the draft,
but he's raw.
For sure. Going into the draft, he was considered the top or one of the top nickel cornerbacks in the draft, and he also struggled last week against the Buccaneers. He gave up 4 receptions for 50 yards and 2 touchdowns again. So yeah, this was already a kind of struggling and somewhat depleted secondary, especially cornerback group, that looks like it now took another hit with the likely absence of Emmanuel Forbes.
And Michael Davis, the veteran, is also back there as well, the former Charger. Interesting to note, the Giants are 8-3-1 in their last 12 meetings with the Commanders dating back to 2018. Also interesting to note, and I'm not much for one-loss records for starting quarterbacks, the Giants are 5-1-1 in games that Daniel Jones has started against the Commanders. He's completed 70% of his passes for over 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions against the Commanders. This has been a team he has usually lit up. Given their secondary issues at the moment, you would like to believe this is a good get-well game.
Yeah, I mean, considering how last week went and how last season went, this is probably the best matchup Daniel Jones could ask for going into week 2. As you mentioned, he has had just tremendous success against them throughout his career. His 98.0 passer rating in those 7 starts. And on top of all that, he's also rushed for over 300 yards with a touchdown and averages over 6 yards per carry against the Commanders. So this is definitely a good matchup for DJ. It is a good matchup for the receivers. I mean, we were just talking about those cornerbacks. Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson are just primed for, this is the best matchup possible for those 2.
Don't sleep on Hyatt.
No, of course. Hyatt, and as long as Slayton clears the protocol, I mean, we've seen Darius Slayton have success against the Commanders as well over the years. But just, if Malik Neighbors gets the Benjamin St-Juste, I'm not going to say shadow because I don't think he will be following him around the field, shadowing him. But if he sees a lot of St-Juste in coverage, that is a positive matchup for Malik Neighbors. And again, I just said the rookie nickel cornerback struggled last week. Wan'Dale Robinson lined up in the slot 80% of the routes last week. So this is a great matchup for the Giants wideouts and the passing game overall. In addition to, the offensive line. I mean, Washington has some talented players on their defensive line, primarily on the interior with Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne. They also have Dorrance Armstrong, a free agent acquisition on the edge, who, he had a solid game last week.
Clelin Ferrell had the only sack, though.
Yes.
The other defensive end, former Raider.
Another former first-round pick, top 5 pick.
Very much so.
Although,
a guy I like coming out of Clemson. Has never lived up to his billing.
No, but, I mean, overall, the Commanders' pass rush wasn't great last week.
No.
And,
Baker Mayfield lit him up.
And,
4 touchdown
the Buccaneers' offense is definitely, a good offense with a lot of talented pieces, but I don't look at their offensive line as, a elite top-tier offensive line. It's a good offensive line, but it's not on, the upper echelon of lines across the league.
Well, Cosme, the right guard, is one of the better guards in the league.
The Buccaneers.
Oh, the Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers line is not what I would consider, the top tier of offensive lines, and they handled the Commanders' the Commanders' pass rush.
Yeah.
So it is a positive. It's a positive matchup all around for the Giants offense this week.
Key players for the Commanders, Cosme, the right guard, is one of the best guards in the league. He's very, very talented. Clearly, he is the linchpin of their offensive line. On the defensive side, Bobby Wagner, who played many years in Seattle when Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator. They brought him over. The guy is ageless. He had 10 tackles last week, including 3 for a loss. Bobby Wagner, I think he could play another 20 years, this guy. He's unbelievable.
Tremendous.
So, he's somebody you want to be concerned about. And then, of course, there's Jaden Daniels. Now, here's the thing about Daniels. Okay, I talked to some people in Washington. The game plan was very simple. It was, if you can run with it, run with it. And he ran for 88 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Okay? Don't be afraid to take off. He's got the green light to run. Now, talking to Coach Andre Patterson today for the defensive line of the Giants, he goes, here's the problem against a running quarterback like that. He technically has 6 lanes that he can take if he wants to tuck the ball down and run. And you've only rushed usually your front 4. So now your guys have to be cohesive and disciplined and make sure they don't get caught too far out of position. Because if some guy extends and does beyond what he's supposed to do, you get caught in a bad spot. And now a guy like Daniels can take off like the Roadrunner. And that's the real danger with him, because throwing the ball, he didn't even throw for 200 yards last week because mostly all of his throws were tiny little dump-offs and they relied on yak yardage. The game plan, from what I was told with the Commanders, was get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible, short dump-offs, and Daniels run whenever you get the chance. That's the way they indoctrinated him into the National Football League in game number 1. That is a very, very ultra-conservative game plan. He did get sacked twice. And, of course, the Buccaneers, being that they were able to light it up on offense, it wasn't much of a game. But you can't sleep on his legs, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. I mean, Shane Bowen spoke to the media yesterday, his weekly press conference, and his quote on Jaden Daniels was explosive. He eats up grass. And if he gets loose, he gets vertical, and he's eating up grass in a hurry. I mean, we saw it at LSU. Once he takes off, he is, it looks like Lamar Jackson running the ball out there. Like, you cannot allow him to, get the edge and just have open space, because he's going to just take these huge chunk yard gains, 15, 20-yard gains at a time, which you can't afford to allow that to happen.
What do you have, 120-plus yard run last week? I believe.
Let me see.
I believe there was one long run that he had that set up a score,
I'm not sure.
if I'm not mistaken.
It sounds right, though.
But, hey, the bottom line is play disciplined football. Don't get caught out of position. Don't over-pursue. Just do what you do. Coach Patterson also said one of the other things is you got to win your one-on-ones. Bowen said it yesterday. Got to win your one-on-ones. The Giants scheme, they're setting guys up, knowing that Dexter's going to be double-teamed all the time. They're setting their other guys up to have one-on-ones. You got to win them, folks. It's that simple. The scheme is there for you to win. Now go out there and win your battle.
TD, Tutty, taking it to the house. Whatever you call a touchdown, they matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first NFL bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score a touchdown. Ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DK1. That's code DK1 for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
201-939-4513. That's a quick overview of some of the Achilles and also some of the strengths of the Commanders as we get ready for this game. So let's go over to our phones and let's get to our first caller. And Pearson, if you would do the honors, because I lost my home screen there for a moment.
We got Big Ed in Maryland.
All right, Big Ed, let's do it now. Come on, are you going to the game?
I want to, but I got a little cold, so I'm going to sit this one out.
Wait, whoa. A little cold. Big Ed.
I went to ER yesterday, Paulie. I did. I went to ER yesterday. They didn't really do anything. It really disturbed me, man.
All right. We'll cut you some slack. How you doing? How you doing otherwise?
Terrible.
Oh, my goodness, Big Ed.
Oh,
come on. The sun's coming up tomorrow. And it's going to come up Sunday, too.
We talked about this? We talked about this before the season started.
Yes, we did.
These guys are not ready. I have to say it. I don't like it either. We're going to need another coach because they're not following him. And it started from after the second season. It started the second season.
No, Big Ed. Where are you getting that
But
idea from?
they're not listening, man.
No. Hold on.
I don't know how you could say that, the team's not listening to him with how they fought back at the end of last year. I mean, Tommy DeVito led the team to 3 straight wins when the season looked like it was done. Yep. Clearly, the locker room did not give up on him.
He just said, though, that you said this, Big Ed, a second ago. I'm going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
You said they gave up on him in the second year. That's not true.
Okay. I could be wrong. See, Big Ed's known to be wrong.
Okay.
I ain't going to leave it out. It's like this, man. We are under tremendous pressure, and I could not believe 2 years in a row we come out on the first game of the season and lay a golden egg.
I know.
That is horrible. That
Big Ed, we're 1-8 in regular season openers over the last 9 years.
That is crazy. That is so
It's just par for the course, though. We got to come to expect it.
Hey, Paulie, for real, man. Man, you guys give me a side call. We get all this call. Give me a side call. Call me. I'll come up, and I'll get us back to the Super Bowl. It's going to take Big Ed to do it. It's going to take Big Ed to do it because some foot needs to go on somebody's behind this. There's no way you're supposed to came out and lay the egg like that, especially with everything else on it. And he got a bitch in all the fan stuff, all the 100-year stuff. That's all, that's fair. That's automatic. And see, what's so funny, right? Somebody, was just talking about how, man, they should come back on the Commanders and do really well. Okay, check this out. You can beat the Commanders. That's not the problem. The problem is, can you beat Cleveland and Dallas in the same week?
No, Big Ed. 1 week at a time, please.
At time. I know.
Help me out here. 1 week at a time. Come on, what are you doing?
Paul beat me to it. I see what you're saying, but you can't worry about weeks 3 and 4 when we got week 2.
That's
first.
True. And look, and if it's going to take the confidence to beat the Commanders and then come back and beat the Browns and then beat the Cowboys, get ready for October football, fine. It's like September is such a month. You can get good play out of people, but then next month you get, where did they go? And what happened to them? You know what I mean? So it's like, we take the good with the bad.
Well, that's what you got to do, Big Ed.
Time.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I'm going to try. You get better now, okay? Take your medicine, get some rest, enjoy the game on Sunday, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
I'll try to make sure you're on. Look, I'll try to make sure you're on when I call.
And if you don't catch me here, catch me on my other program on Wednesday night. All right, Big Ed?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to email me that, okay?
All right, take care.
Okay, man. Thanks, bro.
201-939-4513. I will say this, Matt. Both teams, the Commanders and the Giants, were extremely disappointed in what happened in Week 1. Both expected more. Neither got it. Giants didn't play many of their starters during the preseason. The Commanders didn't either. Most teams don't. We've discussed this many, many, many times. So it's not like either of these teams has a leg up on the other. Okay? This is a game where I think both teams followed a similar path coming into kickoff. And if you simply look at the individual matchups, talent by talent, piece by piece, 1-to-1, the Giants have more raw talent than the Commanders. Now, that doesn't mean they will win, because if the Commanders get their act together quicker than the Giants do after having laid an egg in Week 1, then guess what? Neither one of these teams is good enough to win if they don't play well. So it's certainly possible for the Giants to lose this game. They've got to show up.
For sure. I mean, they're going into this game as underdogs. I mean, part of that is because the game is in Washington, not at MetLife Stadium, but they are still underdogs in this game. So the expectation is not that they are going to win. So yeah, they need to come out and bring their A game. I mean, honestly, that's the case for every single week, but
no doubt.
But yes, there clearly is, some urgency to come out and play their best football on Sunday. I mean, Jason Pinnock spoke to the media on Monday and said that. He's like, there's no panic here, just urgency. We know what we need to do. We know what we needed to fix, and we're going to work on doing that leading up to Sunday. So obviously the hope is that they worked out, those kinks throughout the week, and that come Sunday, this team will be ready to go and ready to, fire on all cylinders.
Yeah, when you lose your opening game, you have to accelerate the smoothing out process. It's often been said, especially in recent years now, that it takes a full month to figure out what your team really is. Well, when you lose Week 1, you kind of got to quicken that pace a little bit, and you got to start finding out maybe by weeks 2 or 3 what your team is. You can't wait till Week 4, because if you wait till Week 4, all of a sudden you're 0-3, or maybe 1-3, or maybe 0-4, and now it's too late. So you got to figure it out quicker now, because you've made your bed. It's that simple.
Yeah, agreed completely.
All right, 201-939-4513. We're going back to the phones here on Big Blue Kickoff Live, and it's Rich. You are next on BBKL. Hello.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Paul. How's it going, guys?
How are you?
Well, after Sunday, I'm still hurting from it. But 3 points. Let's throw the ball farther than 25 yards downfield. Let's go deep. Paul, is Jacob Johnson, you think, is going to be active on Sunday?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know exactly what the status is going to be of Muasau and McLeod, and that could have an impact on the guys that they decide to dress. Because Muasau, now we know that McFadden is okay. He's practiced in full the last couple of days, coming off his groin injury, so they don't need Muasau to start. But I know they like him on specials, and they love McLeod on specials. And even though Adoree Jackson's getting ramped up and played, 17 plays the other day?
Around that.
On defense. And Coach Henderson just told us this morning they're ramping him up, and they thought he played well last week, and they'd like to be able to get him some more snaps. You also don't want to leave yourself thin at corner if McLeod's able to go. So let's see how the back end of the roster, the health is, before we start talking about who's active.
Jacob Johnson does contribute on special teams.
He does. He does.
Yeah. Yeah, and one final thing, Paul. Be careful on the sidelines, because remember what happened down in D.C. last year.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. 201-939-4513. I've had a few close calls, but never actually been plastered, thank goodness.
Just real quick to the first point that he made, and we kind of just brushed over it, the whole throw it 25 yards downfield.
Yeah.
It's no, I'm not, shocking anyone here. The Giants did not throw the ball downfield against the Vikings. Daniel Jones had one attempt over 20 yards, completed it, but that was it. And obviously, we spent all summer talking about pushing the ball downfield. That was an emphasis during training camp, during the preseason. I still think this team is going to do that, and they're going to do it a decent amount. The Vikings, Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator, is a very, very good defensive coordinator. And what he did, they played two safeties deep almost all game. And when you do that, you eliminate those deep shots down the field. You make it nearly impossible. Like, were there a handful of plays potentially that if, like, the protection held up and everything went well, could Daniel maybe have tried a shot downfield? Yeah, but it really was not happening often. And that honestly goes just to credit towards Brian Flores. He took that part out of the game for the Giants, where it wasn't really an option for them to try it downfield. I mean, you can take a shot downfield, but what's the good of doing that if you're throwing it to Darius Slayton 30 yards downfield while he's in double coverage?
You know what bothered me more? The fact that they couldn't get any run game going at all. That's another story. That was disturbing.
That's another story.
And we all know if you can do that, it does open things up.
For sure.
And they never got the run game going.
No, and that played a big part in the offense not really being able to find its footing on Sunday.
Timing was off.
When the defense plays back, that does open things up, closer to the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, I think, if the Commanders, play the same sort of defense this week, I would expect the run game to look a little bit better.
Yeah.
And the Giants to be a little more prepared for that.
And I would also expect, because of the lack of production in the Commanders secondary, even if you're not throwing the ball 30 yards downfield, your 15-yarder could become 30 yards.
Oh, yes. Because I expect a lot of yards after the catch this week.
They really don't have coverage skills in that secondary. They're not, I'm sorry, folks. They're very challenged. That's just the way it is, and I'm not underestimating them. Now, what I did do last week is expect that the pass rush would get to Darnold. You were all sold on Darnold, God bless you, because he looked awesome the other day. He looked like a Pro Bowl quarterback, but that's because they didn't get any heat on him. In a million years, I never would have thought the Giants' pass rush would have been silent against Minnesota, but it was, and Darnold took advantage of it. So, hey, that's a lucky break for him.
The Giants actually ended up, I think it was like with the 5th highest pressure rate in week 1. According to Next Gen Stats.
Thanks to Dex?
Mostly thanks to Dex.
He had 8.
Dexter had
8.
His highest single game career pressure rate. He was a monster.
On 24 throws.
Yes.
But again, if you know where the only pressure's coming from, it still makes it easy to do. It's not enough of significant heat that it has an impact.
No,
and
just
it didn't.
What we spoke about last week, what I was saying with Kevin O'Connell just being a tremendous play caller is he came up with a game plan that was able to, cancel out the Giants' pass rush. Even on plays that Dexter got into Sam Darnold's face.
Didn't matter.
Kevin O'Connell schemed up plays where Darnold was still able to get the ball out quickly. So even though it counts as a pressure and Dexter affected him, he still hit the receiver and, they got however many yards gained. So, again, I didn't think the pass rush was that bad. Obviously, 1 sack, you need to do better than that.
Very disappointing.
You
2
need
quarterback
to get,
hits?
You need
2?
more. You need more sacks. You need more quarterback hits. You can get into the quarterback's face all you want. If you don't actually hit home, what good does it do?
2 hits
Fully
is
understand
not
that.
nearly enough.
I just don't think it was, quite as bad as some people are making it out.
Now, Shane Bowen, the defensive coordinator, said yesterday that on every pass play, the Vikings had used an extra blocker or at least a chip on the Giants' edge rushers. So they really, really sold out against Thibodeau and Burns. And why wouldn't you? Right?
For sure.
We believe that those guys can be extremely potent. The Vikings had a good plan for it. They executed well. The Giants didn't execute as well. And that's why things kind of manifested itself as they did. We go to Al in Fort Myers. I believe that's Florida. Hello, Al. You're next on BBKL.
Hi, guys.
first-time caller here.
Hey.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Well, listen, guys. In my opinion, when it comes to play calling, the worst thing to do is to go against your gut feeling and your convictions. You guys and everyone else have been saying all along that this season the Giants offense will be throwing more than a running offense. Especially that now the Giants offense ace player everyone has been talking about now is wide receiver Malik Neighbor. In the preseason game I watched against the Texans, Coach Dable used the long throws, play calling mentality he likes in the first half of the game. Well, Daniel Jones had one interception and maybe a couple incomplete long throws. But then later, in the second quarter, he ended up having some nice long throws. Well, the critics went after Jones for the interceptions he threw in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Dable, in the meantime, in his first press conference after the game, stated that he was pleased how Jones got his acts together in the second quarter.
Yes.
And had the nice throws he did in that quarter. Unfortunately, during that press conference, he went on to say that he made some play calls he would only call in the preseason game, but not in the regular season. So I believe against the Vikings, his play callings were more conservative, and he avoided calling the long, deep throws.
Well, Al,
I think against the Commanders, he needs to go back to his gut feeling with the playing style he likes, and rely more on these long throws.
All right, Al, two things.
Daniel Jones now has nothing to lose, but I think the only way he can get his self-confidence and some of the crowd's confidence back is by having some of these outstanding long throw with amazing catches by the wide receiver, ending up scoring some good points for the Giants.
Al, I couldn't agree with you more. That's what they need, and we thank you for your call. A couple of things. Matt, there's no question that the Vikings played a defense that was meant to take away the long ball. That goes without saying. But you also must understand, and we've heard about this now all week, that the timing was off with the quarterback, with the receivers. The routes may not have been as perfect as they needed to be. And the pass protection, while not horrendous, okay, Coach Brasillo just told us this morning there were 2 or 3 plays all game where he felt they were blocked perfectly. He was not very pleased with his offensive line either. And the pocket was not smooth. It was jagged. Even if there wasn't, quote, a pressure, the pocket was jagged. There was always somebody who was getting more penetration than the wall of the pocket, which made things incredibly different and really messed with Jones's timing. He played poorly. There's no getting around that. But, folks, peel back the layers of the onion and figure out some of the reasons why. Don't just say, oh, he was terrible. You have to analyze why. That's what the coaches do. That's what we're here to do for you. Figure out why it happened and what can possibly be done to make it better. And you've got to smooth out that pocket. It was too jagged. There were rough edges in it, and that did not help the situation at all.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't. And, you got to keep in mind, and it's not an excuse, but this offensive line did not get any playing time together during the preseason. Guys were hurt. They were shuffling, rotating in and out. It wasn't until, that last week of August that all 5 offensive linemen got back healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we talk about every year, it takes some time, especially when you have 3 new members of a starting offensive line, to build chemistry and to get working together as a unit in a very efficient manner. So again, it's not an excuse, but I expect that point that you just brought up, I do expect that to continue to improve as we get further along into the season. Obviously it would help the sooner that can happen, of course. Every team around the league is saying that though about their offensive line. And then to the first part about the Vikings game plan, I mean, I mentioned this before, but I have the stats here. Brian Flores' defense last year was one of the most blitz-heavy schemes in the entire league. On Sunday, they blitzed, and the percentage is like mid-40%, 40-something% last year.
He went in reverse
on Sunday. They only blitzed on 22.4%.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been like by far, that would have been bottom 3 in the NFL last year. And they played zone coverage on 86% or nearly 86% of the pass plays.
It almost looked like Bowen's defense in Tennessee.
Yeah, it really did.
I mean, I'm sitting next to Jonathan Casillas in the second quarter, and I'm saying to him, what happened to this blitz-happy Flores? What in the world got into him? But you know what? It's working.
Yeah, it worked. I mean, the Giants clearly went into Sunday with the game plan of we're not going to let their pass rush disrupt the game. And you could see it by, you know, the extra tight end or 2 tight ends in some cases staying in to block. There was max protection, and there were a good amount of plays where the Giants had max protection, and Minnesota only blitzed 4 guys and dropped 7 into coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And 7 guys are covering, you know, 3 receivers running routes. That's why we didn't see any of those deep shots down the field. They had split safety coverage on almost 70% of their plays. You can't throw into that. You're going to have Daniel Jones be throwing into double coverage, which no quarterback wants to throw to deep down the field with 2 guys guarding the 1 receiver. It's going to lead to turnovers.
201-939-4513. Line 1, Ryan in Illinois. You're next on the program. Hello.
Hey, guys. How are we doing today?
Hi.
Hey, Ryan.
I was going to make a point that while we all know that DJ was not very good and there's a lot of blame to go on him, the pre-snap penalties really killed it for me. If you're Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, it's one thing, and you can get yourself out of some of those 3rd and long, 2nd and long. But I just think that this team just isn't built to come back from a 2nd and 15, a 3rd and 15. It seemed like we were in those all game long. Would you guys not agree?
Well, the Giants had 9 accepted penalties against them on Sunday. It was absolutely brutal.
95 yards in penalties.
I mean,
no.
and look, let's go back to what I said was a significant turning point of the game, and I said it the other day, I guess it was on Monday when I did the program, about, you know, you got to play complementary football. They had a drive where it was 7-3. You'd have to go back and look at the play-by-play, Matt. It was 7-3, Minnesota. Giants get into Minnesota territory. I believe they had gotten to the 36-yard line, and they were in right on the cusp of scoring range. And then they took 2 consecutive penalties. Illuminor got hit for a full start, and Wan'Dale Robinson got hit for holding. That drive wound up resulting in no points, a punt to the 1, and the Vikings went 99 yards the other way for a touchdown. To me, right there, that's the microcosm of the game. The 2 penalties that self-destructed the Giants, and then the Vikings, just like Niagara Falls, they stole the momentum of the water and just flushed the Giants right down the river.
And 2 other times, may I add, the pass interference would have gotten them off the field if it hadn't been called, and the Thibodeau face mask also, I think it was 4th and 7, and then that 15-yard penalty got them a first down. So some absolute backbreakers that
but Ryan,
I think if Daniel Jones is given – oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted your original question about the, you know, facing the 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations. You're completely right, and Coach Dable spoke about this earlier in the week. If you look at the splits of the Giants' 3rd down situations against the Vikings, when they were third down with 1 to 9 yards, they converted on 7 of 13 attempts, and then 3rd and long, so 10 plus yards, they were 1 out of 7. And Coach Dable spoke about how they just cannot get themselves into these 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations because you're just setting yourself up for disaster.
And by the way, the Giants did get flagged for 4 pre-snap penalties that were marked off against them of the 9 that they had to endure. Just FYI.
Wow. And then one other thing, if I may. What's the answer to the pass rush situation then? Because if Dexter's being doubled and they're using a chip on both of our ends, or at least one of them, to really, try to slow them down. I guess I'm just not sure what the answer is then. Do we need our 3 technique to really start, popping more? Or I guess I'm just flustered as to why, if they're putting so much attention to our defensive line, why, other areas aren't opening up more.
Well, let's go to the numbers, right? Let's go to the numbers. 5 linemen, right? You're going to double Dexter. So now if the Giants have a 4-man front and now you've got a 1 double against Dexter, that means basically you've got 4 blocks, right? 4 total blocks against the 4 guys you have because Dexter's being doubled. So it's the other 3 all have one-on-ones. Now, if there's an extra chip on one of those guys on the edge and that's a 2-on-1, well, then that means there's still 2 one-on-one matchups that need to be won, Matt. You got to win your one-on-ones. The idea for this scheme, and then, of course, if you want to send an extra blitzer, he's going to be naked. All right? There's not going to be anybody blocking him. So that guy should be able to get in clean. But when you've got 2 one-on-one matchups on a given play because they're using 6 guys to block your 4, your one-on-one guy's got to win.
Yeah, I mean, we literally spent all offseason, all summer talking about how Shane Bowen's scheme relies on the front 4 hitting home. Your front line has got to win their matchups and get into the quarterback's face. Otherwise, this defensive scheme, it's going to struggle. There's no doubt about it. It's not, this is not the Giants' defense of the last 2 years where you're sending 6 blitzers, 7 guys blitzing the quarterback every other play.
No.
It's just not, you're not going to see that often in this scheme. So yeah, the front guys just need to win their matchups. Even if you're getting chipped a little bit, find a way to still disrupt the play in some capacity.
If Burns has a one-on-one because they're using the chip on Thibodeau, then Burns has to win it, and vice versa. Then Thibodeau has to win it. And oh, by the way, Nacho, come on. They're putting 2 guys on Dexter. Win your matchup.
Yeah, seriously. Well, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. 201-939-4513. Lou is in Virginia. You're next on the program. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hi.
Hey, Lou.
Very, very tough game to watch on Sunday. And I got to ask one favor of you, Paul. Stop predicting how we're going to do because you have never, ever right, bro. You got to stop it. You're killing me. You're killing me.
I can only tell you what logic says. This is like the stock market. It's like the stock market, my friend.
Man.
History is no guarantee of future results. That's the problem.
Yeah. So it was a rough one, man. Yeah.
I know it was rough. It was horrible to watch.
Yeah, Sam Darnold looked like a Heisman Trophy winner out there. And
I know.
So whatever you think, say the opposite, and that's what's gonna happen.
Okay.
Hey, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, man, and go Big Blue.
All right, Lou. Have a good day.
Thanks, Lou.
He's going to be in Virginia, which means he gets to watch the game. I'm sure it'll be on.
He didn't even ask a question. He just called to say that.
And that's fine.
I respect that.
Look, trust me, when I tell you what I see logically happening in the game and how the narrative's going to play out, that's in all likelihood the way the coaches are seeing it. And if you don't think that the Giants coaches were shocked by that result on Sunday, then you better think again. Because I guarantee you they were as surprised, if not more surprised than I was. 201-939-4513. I know we have some spots to read here. We got a huddle spot, don't we, Pearson? It's brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. From game day celebrations to your everyday financial needs, Big Blue fans can get the most out of every moment with Citizens. Learn more at citizensbank.com/Giants. By the way, Citizens will also donate $750 to the Giants Foundation for each scoring drive during the 2024 season. Good stuff, and we certainly appreciate their participation in our programming.
TD, Tutty, taking it to the house. Whatever you call a touchdown, they matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first NFL bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score a touchdown. Ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DK1. That's code DK1 for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
Whoa, what is this here? This is a new one. Pearson, what about the tire one? No one told me about that one. No, we're not going to. I'm going to read this just as a bonus. Did you see this?
I did not.
That's totally new. All right, I'm going to read it as a bonus. It says we're broadcasting from the Town Fair Tire Studio, powered by Town Fair Tire. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. 888-808-1019. 888-808-1019. You folks at Town Fair, you just got a free bonus if that wasn't supposed to be here. But since it is now on the billboard and on our list of promos, I have read the promo for you, so you can graciously accept it if it wasn't supposed to be there. And if it was, at least we have fulfilled our obligation. 201-939-4513. This whole billboard is very tricky here, Pearson.
I don't even see that, Reed.
It's right here. What do you mean? You don't see it? It's right under the huddle. Matt, tell him.
It is there. I've just never heard it read before.
No, that's fair. I see it.
All right. Well, hey, and the last thing in the world I want to do is accidentally cheat a sponsor out of his spot. So if that was a bonus, you got a bonus. All right, 201-939-4513. Now, let's assume that Slayton is going to be available to play on Sunday, and so the Giants will have their top 4 receivers locked and loaded and ready to go.
Okay.
If not, give me your thoughts on who moves up on the depth chart, because remember, Olszewski's got a groin, and he's not even working right now. You know, they had to bring in somebody for the kick return, Smith-Morset.
Yeah, I mean, Coach said it's going to be weeks before we see Gunner.
Right, which means Ford Wheaton probably steps up, no?
Yeah, I mean, if we just look at the wide receivers that are on the 53-man roster, you have...
I mean, they could call up a practice squad guy if they wanted to.
Yeah, but the guys that are currently on the roster are Ford Wheaton, Hyatt, Neighbors, Gunner, who, based on what Coach has said, we don't expect to see him this weekend, Wandell, Slayton, who in this hypothetical would be out, and then Smith-Marset, the new return specialist.
Right. And I don't see him getting into the game as a receiver.
I'd be surprised. I mean, I guess you never know how quickly he could maybe pick up the playbook, but I'd be surprised. I feel like he was brought in, at least for now, to be primarily the return specialist, which he's had a lot of success in the past. Looking at that on the receiver group, I would expect that at least one of the elevations from the practice squad would be a wide receiver. I mean, Isaiah Hodgins is on the practice squad. He obviously has plenty of experience in the system the last couple of years. That would be my best guess, is that he would get elevated. And yeah, I could see Bryce Ford Wheaton seeing more snaps on offense than he did in the week 1, because I don't think he was really out there much,
no,
if at all,
no, on
Sunday. And I could definitely see him getting some run. I think they definitely value his contributions on special teams. I feel like
he has speed.
He definitely has speed. That's one thing the Giants' receiving core is not lacking. That's for sure. I don't know how much run he would get, though. I think they value what he does on special teams so much. He's like their primary gunner. I don't know if they're going to sort of want to take away even a little bit from that to put him in at wide receiver when they could just bring someone like Isaiah Hodgins up. So my guess would be Isaiah Hodgins would get called up and get at least some run. That would be my best guess.
And certainly he's had experience in the offense.
And a lot of Jalen Hyatt if there's no Slayton on Sunday.
Oh, no doubt about that. That's pretty obvious.
Even if Slayton does play, I expect to see more Hyatt than we at least saw on Sunday.
I was disappointed in the ball that he let go through his hands. It was a catchable ball, not a great throw. It wasn't exactly precisely on target, but a very catchable ball. You got to catch that.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Disappointed because he's worked so hard.
I know the big story of the week has been Daniel Jones' performance on Sunday, but
5 drops.
His pass catchers, exactly. They dropped 5 balls. Like if those 5 passes are caught, maybe Daniel Jones' final, stat line looks different. Again, I'm not saying that is the reason why he performed the way he did, but just saying that, it's not like the receivers went above and beyond to help Daniel Jones on Sunday.
Hard to get in a rhythm.
Exactly. So hopefully those drop numbers decrease significantly. Hopefully there are no drops on Sunday and the offense really gets going and we get to see more of what we saw, you and I, every day throughout the summer as compared to what we saw on Sunday.
201-939-4513. We go to Tom in Florida. You're next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, well, sir, how are you?
Hey, Tom.
I'm in Florida. I'm relaxing. It's okay. But all the relaxing in the world didn't take away from my
angst,
displeasure. Okay, angst. That's a good word. On Sunday, I knew it was coming, by the way, because I saw how Shane was setting up his defensive line, and I knew it was going to be 4-on-5. And I don't care who you are, you got to look at the two ends, at Burns and at Thibodeau, when they're up against, each one of them is up against one of the best tackles in the league. And you can't expect them to beat those tackles on a regular basis. Okay? I'm surprised that Shane didn't see that, number one. And it's going to happen again, unless he goes a 1 and 2 threes and then the outside. If he puts 2 men over the guard and tackle, and takes some of that power away from the tackle so that Burns and Thibodeau can get past them and get to the quarterback. But even Dexter, as strong as Dexter is, if he's playing a 1, he's not able to deflect any of the pressure that the tackles are giving to the wideouts.
Tom, I'll say this, Tom, and I appreciate your feelings on this, because usually I'm a much more aggressive-minded defensive person as well. But this is the way that Shane Bowen's been running his defensive scheme for a while now. This is not new. He didn't just come up with this, we're only going to use 4. He's been doing this for a while, and he's done very well in this league for a while. So with all due respect, I appreciate that you weren't happy with the results on Sunday. But this guy is a veteran NFL coordinator who has some pelts on his belt and certainly, has a concept of what it is he wants to do.
For sure.
Yeah, I know. I know he has a concept of what he wants to do, and that's fine. But all he has to do is add one more rusher, and he will get a lot more pressure from his defensive ends. I guarantee it.
So you'd
It was shown on Sunday.
So how often would you like to send 5? What would be all the time? So you're a Wick Martindale guy. You want to send pressure all the time.
I was going to say, we did that the last 2 years.
Whoa. What are we yelling about behind? I can't understand you. I'm a long way down here in Florida, okay?
All right, Tom, Wick Martindale was the second most heavy blitz defensive coordinator in the league last year.
49%.
High risk, high reward, okay? it did not work out to the Giants' satisfaction. So, been there, done that, and they're trying a different way this time, and it's only one game. I mean,
I'm not asking for blitzing.
Well, you said you want to send 5 guys off the line, is what you said. That's extra pressure.
Yeah, I want to send 5. I want to send 2 ends, a 1, and 2 threes. I mean,
okay, but if you send 5, that's extra pressure.
Sure, it's extra pressure. But how much pressure, other than Dexter, how much pressure was put on what's his name on Sunday?
Well,
okay?
they did
how
not. They didn't. Absolutely. But Al, here's what I'm saying to you. I mean, Tom, I'm sorry. Here's what I'm saying to you. Let Coach Bowen have an opportunity to massage this for a week or two. Let the players get more cohesive. Matt and I have been telling you how they didn't have a chance to play a whole lot together. They played 2 quarters together during the preseason. Give them a chance to let's see what they can do with this before you start making drastic changes in the style of what he wants to play.
Oh yes, you're just so soft in your approach.
No one has ever called me soft before. I am as aggressive as they come. Trust me.
Yeah, I know you're aggressive, man. I've been listening to you for years. Okay, and I've been watching the Giants. I am 86 years old. I'm not yet. I'm sorry. I'll be 86 years old in November.
Well, God bless you and happy birthday if we don't talk to you before then. But Tom, listen, I get it.
What?
I appreciate your frustration. But you just don't go and scrap the entire scheme that the defensive coordinator has put in. He spent the whole off season putting this in.
Game?
But you want to base you just said you want to base your defense off a 5-man front every play. That's what you asked for.
Well,
that's not what he does.
Yes, I think that. And here's what you want the whole thing. Okay, I believe that you come out in a 5-man front. Okay, you try it. You see what's going on. You find out how much pressure you're getting, and if it's working, you leave it alone, and occasionally you pull one out and let a linebacker or get an extra linebacker in there or something, and pick it up on the second level. But you got to have pressure on the quarterback.
Agreed, Tom.
He has got to know that if he doesn't get rid of the ball in a hurry, he's going to get his you-know-what kick.
Absolutely. On that, we totally agree, and we'll let you go. The one thing that I have suggested on occasion is because Isaiah Simmons is such a very dangerous blitzer. Yeah, there are times. Now, he didn't play any defensive snaps against Minnesota. They like the matchup better with Dane Belton in the defense. But Simmons is playing this week. We've already been told that by the coaching staff. If you want to send Simmons on some blitzes and get mismatches up front with him, coming hot, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
You can't do it on every play, though.
No, not every play. I wouldn't be surprised if we, see it sometimes this upcoming Sunday. But I've got some numbers for you now.
Go ahead.
And these are from Next Gen Stats. Not my numbers, Next Gen Stats. The Giants featured a 4-man rush on 77% of Sam Darnold's dropbacks on Sunday. On those plays, they generated a 45% pressure rate, according to Next Gen Stats, which was the 3rd highest of any team in Week 1.
Again, Dexter Lawrence accounting
for sure.
For basically
Dexter Lawrence had a lot of those. They had Brian Burns down for 5 pressures. Dexter obviously played a big part of that. But my point being, and as the caller Tom said, the Vikings have a very talented pair of offensive tackles. Christian Darrisaw just got paid like a top tackle prior to the season.
He is really
good. And Brian O'Neill has just been a solid tackle for years now. Not every team the Giants play are going to have tackles like that on that level, first of all. Second of all, if Dexter plays this Sunday like he did this past Sunday, Jaden Daniels is a very, very different type of quarterback than Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, say what you want about him, he's been around the league now. This is his 7th season. He's a veteran. Jaden Daniels will be playing in his 2nd game. Jaden Daniels got the ball out incredibly quickly this past Sunday. That's why his 17 completions went for 180 yards, something like that. He's not taking many deep shots down the field. He's not waiting for, plays to develop. He's trying to get the ball out quick. And if he's not getting at the ball quick, he's going to look to escape the pocket, especially if Dexter Lawrence is coming at him from the middle and collapsing the pocket from his face.
He's going to run for his life.
He's going to start running for his life and running outside. And guess what? Now all of a sudden you have Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau who will be waiting for that and ready to take advantage of this rookie quarterback in his 2nd game attempting to run for his life to get away from Dexter Lawrence. They'll be sitting there waiting for him. Like the Giants pass rush, and there's no excuses for Sunday, but they are just set up on paper to have a lot more success this weekend. They obviously need to go out and do it. You don't win matchups just based on the matchups on paper. You have to actually go out and perform, of course, but this is just a much better matchup. And as I said before, I know that the bottom line, the box score stats were not good enough from the pass rush. 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits. But they did get into Sam Darnold's face. And when you're facing a quarterback with a lot less experience like Jaden Daniels, getting into his face, there's a good chance that could lead to more sacks or just more mistakes by the quarterback, which could lead to turnovers for the defense.
The 2 tackles for the Commanders, in case we didn't tell you that before and we were remiss, they started Cornelius Lucas at left tackle last weekend, and then they also used Andrew Wiley at right tackle. Lucas, the former Bear, Wiley, the former Chief. These guys are not of the level of what we saw from the Vikings last week. There is no question about that at all. If you really want to be concerned about something big time from the Commanders this week, think about the fact that because they told Daniels to throw everything quick and short and then use his legs, they basically ignored Terry McLaurin. He had 4 targets, 2 catches for 17 yards. Terry McLaurin was as quiet as a church mouse against the Buccaneers. He basically was a non-factor and was eliminated from that game. More so because that's what the Commander game plan was, as opposed to anything the Buccaneers did. He just wasn't part of what they were doing. They were so concerned with trying to protect and give Daniels every chance to survive. Now, in week 2, do they open that up a bit? Because, look, I don't care who you are, okay? It does not matter who you are. If Terry McLaurin is not putting up the kind of numbers he's supposed to put up, 7 or 8 catches for 90 to 100 yards a week, the Commanders have no chance to win. They need Terry McLaurin to be their guy. He is their go-to guy. He is their headache player. If he's invisible, they will lose. They need to get him the ball. Every coach tells you, get the ball into the hands of your best players. I don't think they're going to make the same mistake twice, Matt.
No, I think they're going to definitely make an effort to get Terry McLaurin the ball. He's easily their top pass catcher, and it's not even close.
One of the best in the league.
Yeah, it's not even close. I mean, their number 2 receiver is rookie 5th-round pick Luke McCaffrey. Maybe veteran tight end Zach Ertz, who's solid, but definitely towards the back 9 of his career as opposed to the prime of his career.
No doubt.
The thing that I'm, I guess, not concerned about, but what I believe has to be the top priority for the defense this week is Jaden Daniels running the ball. I mean, obviously he was their leading rusher this past week. Most of that came on plays that were not designed runs.
Right.
He scrambled, I have the stat here, 23.5% of his dropbacks, which was the 6th highest rate of any quarterback in a game going back to 2022. So 2 seasons plus week 1, he scrambled the 6th highest rate of any quarterback. He is a rookie that when he starts to feel the pocket collapsing, his first instinct is going to be tuck my head down and run with the ball.
And run to run, not run to throw.
Yes.
Big difference.
Yes, very big difference. He's going to, once he starts escaping out of the pocket, he's looking to take off down the field with the ball in his hands, not looking to throw the ball down the field. And that is going to, I think, it presents a big challenge for any defense I think the Giants linebackers, Bobby Okereke, McFadden, obviously assuming he's 100% good to go, they're going to have to make an effort. And I think Isaiah Simmons could sort of, maybe a role for him this Sunday is somewhat serving as like a spy to Jaden Daniels, because he's athletic enough where that's one defender that can probably come at least close to keeping up with Jaden Daniels' speed. So Jaden Daniels running the ball on scramble plays, non-quarterback design runs, limiting him on those runs, I think has got to be the Giants' biggest priority on Sunday.
All right, folks, that'll do it for today's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, part of the Giants podcast platforms everywhere and at giants.com/podcasts. We remind you the game is at 1 o'clock on Sunday. You can tune in to WFAN at 11 a.m. and catch the 2-hour pregame show. There'll be a postgame show as well. And then also after the game is over on Fox, click over to MSG and check out MSG's Giants postgame live. From Matt Citak, I'm Paul Dottino. We'll see you next time on Big Blue Kickoff Live. So long, everybody.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.